Hello and welcome to Movie Buff's real-time trailer reactions. I'm your host Cisco from Misfit Minded. Follow me on all the socials at misfit_minded and check out my website, misfitminded.com.
And I'm your other host, Shani B. You can find me on all the socials at It's Me, Shani B. Today, we're reviewing and reacting to the official trailer for Captain America Brave New World, starring Harrison Ford, Giancarlo Esposito, Liv Tyler, Anthony Mackie, and directed by Julius Ona. All right, we've got it queued up. Let's take a look.
Wilson. Thanks for coming in.
Well, thank you for the invite, sir. I have to admit, I'm still getting used to the new look.
They said lose the mustache or lose the election. You and I haven't always agreed in the past, but I want to make another run at making Captain America an official military position.
And if we disagree on how to manage this situation, then what happens?
Work with me, Sam. We'll show the world a better way forward.
Sir, your inner circle has been compromised. Either you can't see that, or you don't want to. What if it's a trap?
Global power is shifting. You're just a pawn.
You may be Captain America, but you're not Steve Rogers.
You're right. I'm not.
Wow.
All right. Okay. So yeah, what are your initial thoughts to this trailer?
There's a lot happening, and I need to catch back up. This is one of those things where I'm, of course, incredibly excited, but I do have a little bit of that fatigue where it's like, oh man, I do have to go back and like reread the notes just so I
Yeah.
can be updated on kind of like where we are in everything. But what a great trailer. Just like
Yeah.
has the action. I got goosebumps as I'm watching it because I can feel the like authenticity of how intense this story is going to be. And I really do love Anthony Mackie as Captain America. It's such an interesting change and reflects sort of like the evolution of how a character exists within this kind of IP and how, like we were talking about when we covered Batman on regular buffs, that like different men play a character different ways, and this is also when like the culture gets to react to the character in different ways within the story, which is just so exciting about what they've been doing with Captain America.
Yeah.
Um what about you? Yeah, what are your first takes on this trailer?
Yeah, look, I think it looks good. I did watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show when it came out.
Okay.
And I think I reviewed that when I had my other podcast, Saturday Matinee. You can look up, when we were doing episode every week, reviews of it. And so that one was a little disappointing, I gotta say. I thought that was like one of the weaker Marvel TV shows, honestly. But the main function of that, and I feel like if people like you, maybe or other people are like kind of confused by the stuff in this, that whole function was like, Anthony Mackie's the new Captain America. Here's like 10 episodes to get you convinced like that he's in there when we're movie people here on the show. So like we don't need that. He says he's Captain America. I'm with you. He's Captain America, So it was a
Yep.
lot of like setting up characters and different things like, the Mexican kid, like he's in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and he's barely in it. But I knew even when I was watching it, I'm like, oh, this is like the tech kid who like helps them out or whatever, and he's gonna be like a part in the movies or something, and he's in the trailer.
Perfect.
So there's a lot of that stuff, but I do like that joke they had in there, where he's like, I don't know about the new look, sir, because Harrison Ford is replacing William Hurt in in the movies. So I always like when they just like, similar to like I'm sure they had something like that with Iron Man when
Right.
Terrence Howard got replaced. You know.
Yes, yeah, the self-aware nature is like still there, which is
Yeah.
good.
So I thought that was pretty funny. And then I was surprised that they do confirm, because in the comics, his character turns into the Red Hulk, which is who you see at the very end of the trailer. So that's Harrison
Okay.
Ford's character. uh, and
Okay.
I did think it was funny because he's probably such a great actor. He probably knew this, right, already. But I remember in interviews, people asking him, "So are you going to turn into the Red Hulk in the movie or whatever?" And Harrison Ford's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like,
Yeah, classic
yeah,
Harrison
like
Ford.
any Star Wars interview, like classic Star Wars interview, you look up, he's the same way, where they're trying to get like deep lore into him. And so part of me was like, maybe he doesn't know it was all CGI, but I don't know. I think he probably knew. Like, he probably read the script and knew that he was,
Yeah.
he probably
Yeah,
wasn't on
he's
set for
always
those
this
action
type of guy.
scenes, but he
Mhm.
had to record like the ADR probably for the voice.
And I feel like he just gets a kick out of, like, being that way
Yes.
with press, you know? Like, he just likes to be like, "Nah, I'm not giving you what you want. I'm doing my own thing always."
Yeah. Giancarlo Esposito, he loves playing a bad guy. I mean, I'm
And he's
never
so good
he's
at
so
it.
good at it. So like, him like emptying out the gun, I think he looks sick. We were just talking before this, like that he was in Maxine. Not playing a bad guy in that, but I just always like seeing him in movies and TV shows. Like, he's just such a powerful presence. That at least he's going to sell the shit out of whatever they're asking him to read, whatever ridiculous dialogue they're
Yeah.
going to have to ask him to read.
Yeah.
Um, Interesting things that we found out too, which are not mentioned in the trailer. So I guess this might be minor spoilers if you really want to go in fresh into the movie.
Right.
But this is on IMDb, so it's like they clearly announced
It's
it.
out there. Yeah.
So Liv Tyler is going to be in it, which makes sense
Oh,
because that was Hurt's daughter in the Incredible Hulk. So she's showing back up. Also, Tim Blake Nelson, who was only in the Incredible Hulk as well. They were both one and done because they replaced Hulk shortly after that.
right.
But he's back too. He was the scientist, which I thought he died in Incredible Hulk. It's been a while since I saw that. But
I
maybe
also thought he, like, went bad.
yes, that
Okay,
one
yeah.
that's for sure too.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought like once Abomination turned, I thought that he killed Tim Blake Nelson, but maybe like again, they're going to explain it like
They'll find a way.
yeah, he's back, and he's another great actor that he's just like very quirky and unique, and I like seeing him in any movie. So I think, and Liv Tyler too. Liv Tyler's pretty good.
Same.
So I think this cast is stacked, and we'll see how Anthony Mackie does. I thought like part of the problem with the TV show, I thought, was just like maybe he wasn't comfortable in that role yet, or the writing was very like on the nose, like trying to be
Mm,
like politically current, and I just didn't think they juggled that really. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but I thought it was just very, very on the nose, especially with like Wyatt Russell,
right.
that whole thing. Like, honestly, that could have been saved for a movie. I thought like his transition into like an evil character, or like a character that turns bad, who's like kind
Right.
of he was very patriotic, and then he like is not a fan of like where America is right now, and kind of, I'm like, that's interesting. That could also be Captain America: Brave New World, but they're taking
Good.
a different way. And so, but yeah, the assassination attempt, I really like. That was pretty intense. The White House
Mhm.
getting blown up, like that, all that imagery from since Independence Day is always going to work as an
It
American,
is. Yes, it is.
And I was thinking of X-Men 2 was the last time I saw like a assassination attempt in the White House, and that scene was like really good with Nightcrawler in the beginning. So
It's true.
yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting when these franchises or when, certain comic book based IP goes after kind of like common culture stuff. And I think you're right. Like one of the reasons why I tried to watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier, I just like couldn't really do the time commitment ultimately. And I
it's a
do
lot.
remember
It's too
thinking
much.
like
Yeah, it is.
it's a lot and it is really on the nose. And I wasn't necessarily in the mood to like be that versed with like the political landscape. So I'm interested to see kind of how I react to what they're, the way they're going to work with that in this story. But one of my favorite things is like how X-Men like really nicely is like none of this is like really real, but it's like kind of real, and
Yeah.
so you can fit into
It's
it.
very
And
easy
so
to like put our politics onto X-Men, like because it was written that way. And so I
yeah,
mean, obviously Captain America too is, but it was a little trickier, especially like navigating like that. He's a black man being Captain America. I thought some of
right.
that stuff actually did work, probably the best in
Okay,
Brave New Worlds, where he meets a vet, like a black vet, and they have some really good scenes together.
right.
So I think you lean into that. I think that was like one of the stronger parts of Captain America, and maybe they do. They did. It's not in the trailer, but I think if they're smart, that is a very real problem, which we'll talk about in another trailer of racism. People thinking that it's Obama was president, racism's over, and it's like
It was over.
no. Actually, people get upset whenever there's a black superhero, even though in the comics he also was Captain America. So,
It's
um,
very true.
yeah, it's things that I think they would be smart to kind of address that. So we'll see, we'll
Agreed.
see.
Agreed. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It is interesting how there is that discourse within the culture. And I think like that's what's exciting is even though we have had a lot of renditions of, different Marvel properties now, and we've been doing this for a while, there's still like a hunger and a desire to be connected to this material. Like even I'm excited. And I think like that power is interesting because it's important for culture and art to kind of to question these things and challenge these things. So I agree. I'm interested to see what happens.
yeah, representation matters. And if you disagree, then fuck off.
That's right. That's exactly right.
um,
So yeah, I'm assuming after seeing this trailer and with your history and vibe of this property, are you going to see it in theaters? Or are you going to wait for it to be streaming?
I really don't make it to the theaters that much. I gotta say, it's not nothing against theaters. It's just the way they're run here. It's not great. And so, if my brothers wanted to see it and they're interested, I would go. But I'm
Nice.
not taking the solo trip. I don't think to see it.
Okay.
Maybe more trailers will convince me or something. But yeah, I think that's the only way I would go. What about you though? It's still a good trailer. I don't. It's just
Yes.
I'm feeling the superhero fatigue very hard. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna even see Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters, which is crazy because I Wolverine's my favorite superhero, and but it's a lot. It's becoming a lot to keep up with. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yes.
What about you?
Well, I appreciate your honesty, and I will be honest too. I have one of those AMC movie passes, so I am out here trying to see everything if
I wish we
possible.
had like a good
Schedule
AMC out here. I would probably
notwithstanding.
be in the theater a lot more if we had a thing like that. Yeah.
Right? It's true. It does actually help make it easier to be like, I have a little time. I'm going to see what's playing and I'm going to go see it. But I guess I am really on the fence just in terms of like how into and how excited I get about Marvel in theaters versus like really getting comfortable and wanting to watch it at home because they did do a lot of like, Disney Plus exclusive content. That stuff is really good. I have kind of gotten accustomed to watching it at home. So
They
I'm
kind of
not sure.
devalued their movies in a way, which is like what streaming has done, unfortunately. And
Yes.
so it's like, again, Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think I would have liked that as a movie, honestly. Him
Same.
and Bucky, like they were good together, and that could have been a good like first introduction movie. I also forgot to mention, I guess last thing here is Julia Louis Dreyfus is in
Yes.
Falcon and Winter Soldier 2 in a very, very like shoehorned in cameo appearance to be like, she's in the MCU now. I think she showed up in one of the movies too.
Yeah,
Um,
Black Widow. She's
Black
in Black
Widow.
Widow.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
so I don't know how much she's going to be in the movie too, maybe, possibly, but that's another maybe cameo to look out for. But again, we'll see. Maybe the critical reception will be really good, word of mouth. This is a very good, like, I think, teaser trailer to get people excited,
Totally.
though.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to play it by ear. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
see how I feel when we get closer, kind of what else is out, what it's competing with, and see where I stand. But this is a hard one because it's not one where I'm like, oh, I gotta see this in theaters.
Same.
But I'm sure it would be good in theaters. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll both have to see how we feel when we get a little closer.
Yeah. All
Awesome.
right. Yeah, that wraps it up for us. Thanks for listening to Movie Buff's real time trailer reaction to Captain America Brave New World.
So you never miss a rep. Follow the show at We Stay Buff on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and Twitch at The Buffs. Take us for a ride and subscribe to the podcast on Apple and Spotify. Please leave a positive review, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. And of course, you can follow me personally at It's me, Shani B.
Yes, and you can follow me at misfit_minded everywhere, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch, and my website, misfitminded.com.
Yeah.
And for joining us, we'll catch you next time on Movie Buffs Real Time Trailer Reactions. Until then, stay buff.